Okay, so session number 2, we're going to talk about strategy. If relationships are important and we are ministering to this thing, these people, these students called Generation Z, then how do we mesh relationships with these students? To help us, these guys are back again.
What up, you little chicken nuggets? It's me, Carl. So the other day I was minding my own business, walking behind the IHOP when I overheard these kiddos talking. And truthfully, I had no idea what they were saying. It sounded like they were just putting a bunch of random words together with the occasional yeet and bet thrown into the mix. So I figured it's about time for another translation video for all of us who aren't fluent in the Gen Z language. So joining us again is the guy who is more in tune with trends than my mama is with bad weather. She has a bad hip. It's a long story. My cousin Brock. What's good, fam?
What?
How are you?
Hold up.
What are you doing?
My homie is putting some sus dude on blast on the bird.
What?
Dead.
What? Wait, who's John Stamos? All right, Brock, you ready for this?
Bet.
Okay then. First one. I received a bonus this month.
Dude's got that bread.
The bank was robbed.
Bread factory got finessed.
Can you please mind your own business?
Hop off.
That is a stand-up fellow.
That's a real one.
These pancakes are delicious.
Them flapjacks slap.
Ha! Here. I'm not a fan of that music.
Oh, we love that.
Our team won.
R.I.P. GG.
Are you serious?
Dead dogs?
Dead dogs. Okay. That man was slapped.
That noob caught a fade.
Life is so fragile.
The game is whack.
The game being life? The game. I did not think that was funny.
Aha! Dude's got jokes.
I have to leave.
Got a blast.
Isn't that from Jimmy Neutron?
What's that?
Jimmy? Never mind. All right, last one. Person, place, thing, or object.
John.
John?
John.
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 John?
Yeet.
Did you just change?
Yeet is yeet. Yeet. What just happened?
Brock?
Perfect. Okay, so there's a world out there, and we need to have a clue what's going on. I said that if we're gonna be successful in student ministries today, right now, at this moment, knowing that in just a few years things are going to be a little bit more tilted for us, what are some things that we need to do? How do we strategize? How do we put things in place in order to minister to this generation? And how can we capitalize on those relationships? Interesting, I had a conversation this morning with a public school teacher. You're wondering, really? Where? Why? How? I had to drop my daughter off at 6:15 so she could get in the bus to leave for the meet, and happened to park next to a school teacher who was just mourning the fact that they put on big events and students are not coming. They're trying to reach out by putting on something really fun and students are not coming. They're not engaging. Yet in the classroom they seem very hungry and they're very open to spiritual conversations, but I don't know how to reconcile those two. And maybe you've seen that too. Maybe you see students outside of the church setting, students who you would love to see inside the church setting, and they're very open and they're very communicative and talkative and want to engage with you, yet they really struggle to show up when you have youth group or you put on an event and they're not there. Where'd they go? I know we have a good number of students. Where are they tonight? I don't know. Why are they not coming? And then why this decline over the last several years among high school students? talked about Generation Z. What I want to do next is talk about 3 realities that are driving our strategy. So no matter what campus you're from, why are we doing the things that we're doing? We're going to talk a little bit about our plan and what we are doing. But these are 3 realities driving our strategy. They're not the only realities that we could talk about. There are far more realities concerning Generation Z than we could possibly hope to talk about in this session. But I just want to drill down on 3. I'm not even sure they're the most important ones. They're just 3 that I could communicate to you here in a few minutes' time, just to whet your appetite to say, we got to do something with what we're learning. So that's really what this is. First, this generation are screenagers. Word is not original with me. I wish it was. But they're connected to their cellular device or their Wi-Fi device. They're here all the time. And it's so funny for me to talk to older people, people older than you, and they're like, oh, these kids are always on their phone. You know, they don't always talk like that, but it's a caricature, I guess, of some older folks. But it's interesting that when I'm around and out and about, and even at Cracker Barrel or a restaurant, older folks, guess what? They're just as linked as we are. Now, they might have a greater capacity to set it down, or might not. This summer at Teen Leadership Conference was the very first year that I put it up to parents whether or not students could bring their device with them. I had a hard ban on mobile devices for years, and I put it back on parents to say, you guys make the call. Part of that decision was the fact that it used to be a few kids had the devices, and all the kids flocked to those kids. And now it's most. It's not every kid, and you might be sitting here saying, not my kid. Good for you. Good for you. But most kids, it's not novel anymore. It's just sort of the way of life. They are screenagers. And honestly, when Maggie texted me this morning to let me know that she was all alone, and I was very thankful at that moment that she had a device, because I can minister to her in that moment. Now, I'm confident, and actually it's already true, that there are moments that I wish she didn't. And I have said, you don't anymore for the time being. And that's why I love adjusting screen time, and there's all kinds of different apps, and you can choose whatever device, and you can control most everything. And so I enjoy that, but I like the opportunity that it gives me to even reach out and minister to her when I'm not with her. They're screenagers, so they are on their devices. We'll talk about that a little bit. They're on screens on average 4 hours or more a day, and if we're doing well, we have around 2 hours a week to influence them in a youth group setting. Okay? YouTube is the #1 most downloaded app. I'm going to get this statistic wrong. I should have written it down. It's in another document. It is the majority percentage of students 13 to 17 years old believe that 90% of everything that they need to know can be learned on YouTube. I presented that to a few adults, and they're like, no. And I said, well, let me ask you this. Anyone have to fix a dishwasher in the last month? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, how did you figure out how to do it? Oh, right? You need to change the oil in that German car? How do you do it? Right? How to rewire something in your house? It is. It's YouTube. It just is. And so not only are they on it, but they're creating. They're posting. We'll talk a little bit about that. Here's another fact about Generation Z, and this is sort of broad. They are cause-oriented. They are less churched, they are less religious, and they are less spiritual. Cause-oriented. They're looking for something to belong to, something to contribute to. They do want to contribute in general. They are less churched. National average, 1.3 times a month, someone's coming to your church. By the way, that's the person who calls your church home. 1.3 times a month is the average. Do the math. How many times in a year is that? Let me ask you another question. How are you connecting to, ministering to those people when they're not in your facility? It's depressing. It's reality. So we can ignore it, we can complain about it, or we can do something about it. And these are the kids in your youth group too. You know, most of your youth spaces probably wouldn't handle all the kids if everyone who could show up did show up on one occasion. Right? You'd be in trouble. You would be in trouble. They're less religious. They're less likely to identify with one. Now, let me put less religious and less spiritual together. They really don't want to identify with a denomination. In fact, the fastest growing denomination in the United States is non-denominational churches. So most denominations are ticking down. That one is ticking up. Just interesting. Now, it doesn't mean they're anti-religious. Just because they're atheists or agnostic doesn't mean they're antagonistic. They're actually very open. But they're not just open to your message, they're open to anyone's message. The good news is they're open. All right? And we know that when God gets a hold of a heart, there isn't anything anyone can do to stop that work. So that gives us our motivation that, right, Paul said, I am not ashamed, Romans 1:16, I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God unto salvation for all who believe. All right? So here they are. They're less spiritual. They just are sort of going through life. They want to be happy. They want to be successful. They want to have money. They want to contribute. They are philanthropists. You know, they're all these kinds of things. And another reality here is there are more households and less families. Now, this one is probably going to touch many of you or some of you right here in this room. Here's what I mean. When I say family, our definition here is mom, dad, brothers, and sisters. Okay, nuclear family. More households today. Only mom, only dad, no mom, no dad. It's aunt, uncle, it's grandparent, it's someone else. We were at Teen Leadership Conference this summer, and another one of my buddies that I went to college with was there. He had his group there. One of his girls had a really traumatic medical thing happen, had to be rushed to the hospital. This girl, I felt so bad for her. I'm learning her story as the events are unfolding. She does not live with her mom, who's divorced from her dad. She lives with a friend because the mom's boyfriend doesn't really like her. And so the mom chose the boyfriend over her daughter and sent the daughter away to live with someone else. More household, less family. And you say, not in my youth group. Yeah. In fact, probably on your youth volunteer staff. Right? So this provides some great challenges. It also provides for some amazing opportunities. Okay? On one end, because this is true, those who do have families, these parents tend to be helicopter parents. Right? Just always around, hovering. I must observe everything that my child is doing. In fact, I'm just going to keep them right here on my hip. Right? These ones, the opportunities here, they're looking for all the help they can get. Or in some cases are so uninformed, they just want their kid to be doing something. Just contribute to society in some beneficial way. So there's some flexibility. Let me walk you through now how we're going to respond to each of these realities as Bridgewater Church student ministries. All right? First, they are screenagers. Because of that, we are going to YouTube. I just had a parent meeting for Montrose campus parents because technically I am youth pastor here at the Montrose campus. And we're talking about some of the changes that we're making in our student ministries. And I said, I want you to know that we didn't sit around a room or in my office and dream about ways of disrupting your life and changing things and just being creative for the sake of, I'm not that good. I'm not that creative and I'm not that motivated to just do something different. I don't like change. I like the same thing, the same way, the same time, the same every day. Just fine. And but here's what's happening. We're delivering content now, our own original teaching, to all of our youth groups via YouTube. I asked a question earlier, how are you going to minister to the people who only show up 1.3 times a month? How are they going to, you just let them go? We don't have anything for you if you don't come. I wonder about the missionary overseas? What is she doing about those who won't come? I mean, that's why they went over there in the first place, because no one was coming. Do we lose that vision after we get a small core and just work with these ones? No, we work with these ones, and we turn them loose on those, and we give them tools to do it, and YouTube is one of those tools. So the teaching is going to be delivered via YouTube. We have a team of teachers who will be filmed. It's a lot of work. I don't want to do it. We did our first one and showed it for United Night, and though I was pleased with how it's kind of fun. I like the people that I work with. I would far rather stand in front of people like this than try to work up the energy to look at a camera lens. But you know what motivated me in that moment was the fact that it wouldn't be 30 or 50 or 70 students at a time who would see it. Who knows how many now? It's out there. How many students could possibly? And I could have a student with a device text it to their friend or say, watch this with me, check this out. Oh, rewind, I didn't catch that. Right? The possibilities. So we're putting our teaching on YouTube. And because it's video, it means we have to shorten down the talks. All right? Very few people have a tolerance for long format content. And honestly, these kids' attention spans are shorter. And is it my job to make them longer? I don't know. I think my job is to reach them. And I'm reluctantly willing to go shorter in order to do that. I'm more traditional in that sense. I just want to deliver a 30 to 40 minute message, and I've honored God now. It just feels right to do that. But it feels really wrong when you're not reaching people. Okay, so in fact, I talked to a youth ministry veteran. He was asking questions about this, and every time I gave him an answer, he went, So you're not preaching messages? I was like, what? He said, you can't preach a message in 11 minutes. I said, you can't preach a message in 11 minutes? Or what? And, so you can go back and forth, and you can throw pot shots at all of it. And I know, but I said, think of a 3-point message. What if you did 1 point in week 1, 1 point in week 2, 1 point in week 3, and you just dove deeper every time? You got a 33-minute message. If you do 11 minutes each time, you got a full message, and you're doing more than you could if you were just delivering all 3 points in one shot. There you go. Right? Now, are we going to be on YouTube forever? I don't know. Are we trying it out this year? Yeah. So what I don't want you to miss is the fact that we're not married to the new plan or program. We are married to just trying to reach the students where they're at. We would expect any missionary to go out and get converts. And we're trying to do that. And maybe this will be effective, maybe it won't. The good news is we know how to do it the old way. We're very, very comfortable with the old plan. And so we can do that. Put resources to it, and we had youth group tonight. And God bless, if it's working, then bang that drum all you can, right? Get it for all it's worth. But we're going to YouTube. This is interesting, and it's probably easier for you to see for most of you up here. Just a few things about this. The demise of linear TV is happening at breakneck speed. If left with only one device, 0 in 10 would keep their TV. You're grabbing that phone, and out the door you go. Get the charger too, right? 9 out of 10 Generation Z students watch YouTube daily. 80% are on social media daily. 70% prefer streaming over broadcast or cable. YouTube TV. You now have television delivered via YouTube. 77% are multitasking while watching. They're doing something here while watching there, and you're probably doing it too. All right? 65% enjoy creating and sharing, so like more than half create and share. I have a young nephew who has his own YouTube channel. He just does weird tricks on it, and shoots baskets, and I don't know. And apparently the kids watch it. They're interested. 20% post an original essay or poem weekly on their account. So just really, really interesting. So that's why we're going to YouTube. It's the biggest thing right now, and when it's not the biggest thing and something else takes its place, we just might go there. I don't know. We're just trying to ask the right questions. Because they're cause-oriented, less church, less religious, less spiritual, we are implementing service projects. Not service projects in addition to what we're doing, but service projects in the fabric of what we're doing. I talked before about creating environments where you can build relationships and help students see what's true about themselves, what better way than to go do something together? To go do something that requires effort. For me, it was a wilderness trip is what it took for me to see what was true about myself and then go to those key relationships that were already built. But maybe it's just getting involved in your local high school. I just had a meeting with the principal of Montrose High School to talk about what are ways that we can engage, that our student ministry small groups can come alongside what you're trying to do and help make it better. What gaps exist that we can help fill? He was more than excited to give me a list of things that we could do. I plan to have similar meetings with a couple other school districts. And so we can turn our campuses loose on our school districts, because honestly, that's where most of the students are. They're in our public schools. And I just feel like at Montrose, the red carpet has been laid out for us. And so for however long that lasts, we want to continue to just capitalize on that, love those people, great people, providing us with some great opportunities. Though kids are digitally connected, they are often not relationally connected. And just because they're primarily on here, research says it doesn't mean that they only want to be on here. They long for personal connection. They do want relationship. They do want friends. Even though statistics say because of social media, we have more friends digitally than we do personally, and there's more anxiety because I just am seeing the best version of someone else and comparing it to the real version of me, saying my life stinks. I'm taking my son to a Major League Baseball game in a couple weeks, and I know my family's going to want to see it, and an easy way to do that is just to post it on Instagram. But I realize as I look back at my account, I just post the exciting things in my life that I think are worth sharing, but I don't post every day, because not every day is awesome. And I don't want to take the time to do it anyway, but they want connection. They are relationally hungry but ill-equipped to develop those relationships. Interesting, high schoolers will get together for social time. They're less likely to get together for an event. Middle school, if you create, these days, right now, if you create an amazing event and invite middle schoolers to it, they're coming. And if their friends don't, they're going to say, you missed it. It was so fun. There was so much food. High schoolers, even if it's the most amazing event they've ever heard of, if their friend or friend group is not going, neither are they. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. What do we do about that? So we're building in service projects. They're cause-oriented. How can we be a visible, beneficial presence in our community? Generation Z, they're philanthropists. They want to give. Let's provide an opportunity for them to do that. While they do that, we're working together, building those relationships, helping them see what's true about themselves, connecting God's agenda to their life, and then helping them to do something about it. Strengths and weaknesses rise to the top when you're involved in something together over a period of time. It just happens. So that's how we're responding to that one. And lastly, more households and less families. What are we doing about that? We are banking everything on small groups. So in our craze, which is what our high school ministry is called, our foundation is going to be not the event, not the gathering, but the small group. In fact, we have, out of our 5 campuses, boy, that fly is just not going to bother. Leave me alone. One of our campuses, our Halstead campus, is going to double down. They're going almost primarily in small groups. Montrose, Conklin, Tunkhannock, Vestal, they're taking baby steps into that. But Halstead's going to be our beta tester. High school students will meet at the campus September 8th, October 27th, and December 15th this semester. Every other week, sometime during the week, they're going to be meeting somewhere as a small group. Within their small group, they are going to have fun. They could meet at a park and shoot hoops. They could toss the football. They could meet in a basement and play Fortnite. They could, boy, oh boy, go away. They could go play paintball or airsoft or whatever. And then on someone's device, boop, 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 pull up that's what it sounds like when you pull up YouTube. Boop, boop, boop. They're going to pull it up and they're going to watch the content together. They'll be provided small group discussion questions. They'll talk about it. They'll pray together. And there you go. So they didn't come to an event, they went to relationships. So when my son, who's a freshman, wants to invite someone, he gives them an invite card. Says, hey, we meet Friday nights at my house at 6 p.m. We'd love to have you come. We're going to go fishing in our pond, or we're going to whatever. And their friends are going to go, cool, and they'll come. And however many of them can come, maybe 20, 30, and then we got to divide that thing and multiply it like we do for adult small groups. Great. What a great problem. Not going to cap those things. We're just going to try to grow them and multiply them because we think that because they're relationally disconnected and are hungry for it, they're less event-driven, that they may very well say, yeah, I'll come to your house on Friday night, when they would say, no, I'm not coming to your church on Sunday night or Wednesday night or whenever you have youth group. Will it work? I don't know. I don't have a clue. All I know is that we need to do something about what's happening. We don't know what that something is, but what was really cool is I made this whole proposal and I gave it to our executive leadership at Bridgewater, and I said, here's a proposal of a plan, a sketch of a plan, and I said, this could fail miserably. I mean, our two Achilles heels when you bank on small groups are communication and logistics. Those are hard ones. But we also think that students vote with their feet, and they'll go where they want to go. We also think that parents today will take their kids to where they want to go, when they want to go there. It's why Kristen drove to Dallas, Pennsylvania this morning to go to Misericordia. She did not want to go, just make a trip on a Saturday morning. Not our favorite way to spend a Saturday morning, but it's important to my daughter. She wants to do it, so we're there. And we think that if kids really want to go to their small group, that the parent will get them there. And so we want to fill that relational gap that this generation is missing. So that's sort of where we're at here for our strategy. There's more involved in it. There are more factors driving it. But that's probably enough for now, enough at least to get the discussion going at your campus or at your church. Make sense? Does that help? You are going to, those Bridgewater people, you're going to have a campus team breakout here in a little bit. And when you do, you get to discuss how and where and when and who this is going to happen for your high schoolers. We also are going to continue to run our middle school ministry on Sunday nights like we have before. But on a few of those nights, or at Halstead, most of those nights, the high schoolers will not be around. It's just middle school in the building, and you can do whatever fun thing you want to run that program. Sound good? Make sense?